So in 2010, I founded Web Essentials together with my wife, and it's registered as a private limited company. For me, this is important. When we started Web Essentials, we wanted to have it registered. Why? Because we want to work with big clients. So how can you work with big clients? Only when you're registered. Because some clients, they will come. Actually, we did a website for Beeline maybe 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, and they sent someone to our office to check all the documents. So if we would not have had registration, we could not have worked with them. So for us, this was important to get registered. So we registered with the Ministry of Commerce for the business license. We also registered with the Ministry of Economy and Finance for the taxation under the real regime, so we need to charge VAT in Cambodia. And we also registered with the Ministry of Labour. To my understanding, you need to do this when you have more than 10 staff. And now they're becoming much more strict, actually. The registration with the Ministry of Labour we did after about 1 year or so not from the very beginning. But the tax and the business license we did from the beginning. It is also important to us because we're a social business, we want to do something for Cambodia. So I think one thing that we need to do as entrepreneurs is paying taxes. I know a lot of entrepreneurs don't like it because it takes away from their profit, but I think it's a very important part to help the economy as well, to help the infrastructure. We profit from the infrastructure, our staff travel on the roads to the office, so somehow these roads need to be paid. So how are they paid? Well, only by taxes. And if there are not enough taxes paid, then there are loans, and the problems come later. Because Cambodia takes a lot of loans right now to create the roads and the infrastructure. If they don't get that money back through the taxes, then how can they pay back the loans? So for us this was important. And I think it also helps you to grow very quickly, because I know you can start a business, just 1 person, 2 person without registration, but if you want to do business to business and work with bigger businesses, you need to have registration. Yeah, we have over 40 staff. Actually, it has to change a little bit, like we have been. Started very quickly, so quickly 10 staff, 20 staff, 30 staff. At some stage we were 55 because we offered the internship program. Now we're a little bit over 40 and we have 9 expats. And we work with open source technology. For us this is important because open source helps to access it. Well, we can download, for example, our operating system. We work with Linux, so we can just download it and use it. We have access to all the documentation. We can change it ourselves. Since we are the developers, we can make our own changes. We're working with Type 3, which is a web content management system. We can adjust it to the needs of our clients. It's very simple, and we can be part of a bigger community. We know a lot of developers from the Type 3 community. We go to their events all over in Europe and in other countries. We also have organized a conference here in 2012, and we will organize another web development conference in 2015, so next year, again here in Phnom Penh. And we invite people from the community to join us. Why do we do this? Because we can take their code to provide great services to our clients. So why can we do this? Because, I mean, anyone can do it, but why can we do it well? Because, we know how the code works, we have studied it, we have looked into it, and we know the developers who have created it through the community. Because we know the developers, we know actually great developers who can teach us how to do even better things for our clients. And this only goes through the community. And this is why open source is great for us. Because Microsoft will not come to your business here in Cambodia to teach you how to use Microsoft unless you have a very big client you need to provide for. But in open source there are people, and these people, they want to make a difference, and they came to Cambodia in 2012, and they also helped us in our business, and we're helping them. So we are a big community. It's like a community back in your village, but it's because it's virtual, you're connected. but they're still human people. Okay. I'll give you a few key facts about web extensions. You can see like income, expense, profit. We were not always profitable, so we always had a bit of profit. But in 2013, this was last year, we also made a loss. That can happen, but it's not always easy. But also, you need to find out what is the reason for the loss. Maybe you did invest in something, maybe you changed your business model a bit, maybe you did some changes to your business, and then at first it makes a loss, and then later it will generate profit again. This is our growth. So at the beginning we had a very quick growth. In 2013 a little bit less. Now we're growing again. Invoices that we wrote per year. Clients we have worked with. Actually, maybe this one is interesting. We are a business. We have a business model business to business. So if you do business to business in a field like ours, then you do not need a lot of clients. You just need clients that come back to you. So for the moment we have 4 development teams and 1 support team, and in principle we only need 4 clients at the same time, or 1 client that books 2 teams. So if these clients give us projects for the whole year, we only need 4 clients. So when you think about business, I think it's interesting to think which market are you in and what clients do you want to work for and how many clients actually do you need. So in our case, we don't need a lot of clients. We actually need to grow in the size of clients slow enough so that we can improve our quality and improve the way we work, our processes. And only when we have improved this, we can take on more staff and we can take on more clients. Okay, staff I mentioned already. Yeah. Okay, projects. For example, we worked for ABA Bank, the ABA Bank website, the NISC, Northbridge International School, Asian Home School. These were just some recent projects. These are all responsive websites. The ABA Bank website, it runs on at least 5 servers at the same time. We have a lot of international projects. We have worked with 3 Swiss banks. We have a large national and international corporations in Switzerland and Germany that we work for, but we don't work for them directly, for those international clients. We only work through partner companies. So what we actually did is actually, it sounds like, oh, this must be crazy to work with a Swiss bank in Switzerland, and this is not achievable for me. Well, why not? Because the only thing we did was that, okay, we used open source Typo 3, we downloaded it, we looked up when is their event. Okay, we went to that event, we met a web company there, they say, oh, we actually have a big project, and we need some help, can you help us? We say yes, and then the project is a Swiss bank. And, oh, okay, good, great, nice, that's a nice reference. Actually, we cannot share which bank, and then we have an NDA, and so we cannot say, okay, this is who we have worked for exactly by name. But it's quite nice for our developers, and for me too, that we work for those clients here from Cambodia. In Cambodia, if you want to start a private limited company, you need to have, you need to invest at least $1,000. This is the minimum that you need as a capital to start the business. And I started with the minimum. So only 1,000 capital, not more. Besides that, obviously we couldn't just operate with only $1,000, especially we had a lot of staff very quickly. So then we took some loans. But the loans were mainly from friends and from family members. So we didn't have any investors. I'm still the only shareholder, and the only additional funding that we have is loans that we got from family and friends. But much more important than this, and then I come to this, is we also had a client, and the client wanted to do a project with us, and the project was a big one. So the client was also ready to pay something in advance to us. And I think, in general, a funding like this is much better than a funding through an investor or a funding through or too many loans, or because if the client can pay something in advance, it's money that you get anyway, you just get it early. So it helps you to get started. And in that case, it was someone who believed that we could do the business, and someone who wanted to work with us, and so it just said, okay, I give you something upfront. It's obviously a risk for a client, but I think it's also a good way to help. Actually, we can also think, if we have a business already, or if we are in a position where we're working with a supplier and we know the supplier wants to improve, maybe pay something in advance and the supplier can develop himself. Maybe that benefits us as well. So, what is entrepreneurship about? It's an idea that creates value. And not just for someone, but for clients, for people who can actually pay for that value. And if it's a social business, it also creates more value. It's not only for the client, but also for the people that are involved, for the environment, and so on. What I like is the value creation in this process. You know, because what Cambodia needs is people who create value. Cambodia is not exporting that much. I mean, it's exporting some agricultural products, is exporting a few industrial products, but not many. But Web Essentials is an export company that exports value that has been created in Cambodia by Cambodian developers. So it's really about the value that we create, that people buy. And I like that a lot. I like that we can export value from Cambodia. That is, you know, the business is creating value. It's a value creation machine, basically. The business creates value that people buy from. Okay, what do you need to start a business, at least a service company? In my opinion, you need a client. Don't start when you don't have a client. Just look for clients. Just try to find clients and see if you can find someone who wants to buy your service. You may need a team. You need a phone number so that they can reach you, and maybe a little bit more infrastructure, maybe email address. And you need a lot of passion and courage. If people are buying your services, it works. Especially if they come back and buy it again and again and again. So even without business plan, even without a lot of capital, you have already created a company. When people come and buy from you, they come back. Yeah. Is it enough? Well, someone has asked the question about social business and what it means exactly. Okay, I'm talking about the triple bottom line. So a triple bottom line is three pillars of a social business. So one is make a profit, because any business needs to make a profit. Not immediately, but at least in the long term. Depends on how much finances you have available. Well, needs to make a profit, otherwise it's not a business. For a social business, needs to make a social impact. So what does it mean? So for us, for example, we train people, we take interns, we train them up. We also donate a part of our income to NGOs. So when we make a profit, we donate something to NGOs. We let the staff choose who do you want to support, and then we donate to them. We also work in the community, mainly in open source community. We have actually people who are helping to build the Type 3 CMS and NEOS, contribute back to the open source community. We're also helping our staff and thinking of what can we do to help Cambodia. And we're also looking for a product. We don't have it yet, but our wish is always also to create a product that makes an impact here in Cambodia. For the one, we're creating a lot of websites for big corporations, but I see there's a lot of potential in Cambodia that we can also create a product that people will make, that gives additional value to people in Cambodia, and they will buy it, but it's actually also very good for them. And the third point is care for the environment. There's also businesses that speak of a quadruple bottom line. Quadruple bottom line is okay. For example, for me, I'm a Christian, so for me, I think also I can do something through my work ethic. I can also do something for God. Okay, whoever you think you are following, or if you have an idol in your life, that would be the quadruple part. For me, it's I do also work because I believe there is a God, and I want to do something by doing the business. Okay, I'm going to cover a few basics that I think when you start a business you need to know. I've just listed a few things that came to my mind. So you should know about finances, shares, loans, okay, make vouchers for every expense. I think at the market they don't always do it, but almost all have it. So this voucher book. So make it from the beginning. Don't wait. We waited too long. So we only had it about 3 or 4 months afterwards, and then we had to go and collect all the receipts and everything. So you can even have your own vouchers or your own voucher book. Do it from the beginning. It's really useful. You need to look at the cash flow. So the cash flow is just how much cash do you have to pay. The most important thing is pay the salaries. You always need to pay the salaries, and you always need to pay them on time. In terms of expenses, that's the number one. You won't be able to keep your staff if you don't pay the salaries on time. So you need to pay the salaries on time. It's the first most important expense. The next one is your suppliers and taxes that you also need to pay. With some of them you can talk, you can say, okay, can I pay a little bit later? It would be helpful to me because I'm waiting for a big incoming money. That's okay. And so on. And know how much is coming in and when is it coming in, how quickly your clients pay. That's also important. Don't wait with writing invoices. Some people, they just wait and they think, oh, okay, I'm going to write the invoice later, you know, or they don't even write down their hours, and then in the end they don't know what to invoice, and maybe some income is just lost, or the money comes late and then you're in trouble. Okay, you need to know about profit and loss. To be honest, I didn't know much about these things before I started my company. I used an accounting company to help me. They were a small company. At that time, now they have grown a bit, but they were actually cheaper than an accountant, and they were helping me a lot. So I just worked with them. And it was very handy because they just kept all the things in order. Because for me, I don't know if I would have always kept all the receipts and everything together, but they did. Okay, you need to know about government. What are your duties to the government? I have seen a lot of companies in Cambodia disappear, or change name after 3 years or so, and it was probably not in the best moment for them. And it's just really not so fun when you have to change the name, or you need to close down and go to another place in the city and start up again there because you have troubles. So I think it's good to do a proper registration. And as I said, they're becoming a bit more strict also on Ministry of Labour. Taxes, you can be in very big trouble. You can be in very big trouble with the taxes. One thing is the law is not very exact, so you need to know what is the practice in Cambodia. So there are some taxes that are not so clearly specified what is included, so you need someone who has experience in it. You cannot just assume you know. And if you tell them afterwards that you didn't know, well, good luck with it, but most people then just need to bribe. And for me, I said, I'm not going to bribe at all. This is out of question for me. I don't want to do it. I'm paying my taxes, I'm paying them fully. I don't mind, because it helps Cambodia, but I don't want to get into a place where I don't know how much I need to pay this guy. I want to be able to control my finances. I want to know how much I have to pay, when, and how, so I want to understand, I want to work with people, and actually it worked so far. So we didn't really have to pay bribes at all. We used a company to help us set up the business. We're using some service companies for visas and for, but otherwise we try to work with as much as possible with the government directly and try to not make shortcuts. We can wait. We can wait some time till something is done. We're not too much in a hurry. So, and if you wait and talk to people and just persistent and say, sorry, I cannot make the decision by myself, you know, it works, in my opinion. Okay, I think I need to hurry up a bit. Marketing, know the market that you're in. Is it B2B? Is it B2C? What is the target group? Team. I think the most important thing for me is trust. Just trust in your team. In our business, as long as we were small, everyone had access to all the passwords. Is it a risk? Yes, it's a very big risk. A staff can take over all the clients, and well, that's it. But you know what? It's not happening. Why is it not happening? Because you're trusting them. They know that you're treating them fairly. They will treat you fairly. Okay, I know it doesn't work in a very big company where you have direct contact to everyone, but I think it works very well in a small company. And also, you know, like with things like stuff that gets stolen and so on, in our company, practically nothing, because we trust our staff. If something is happening, it's a big deal. It's not just a small thing, it's a big deal. We don't want that, and we address it, and it's not happening anymore. So that's just the way I run my business. Leadership is important, so that you have people who can be real leaders and can build up a team. Technical excellence is important. Okay, that remembers me of a question. Where do we get the staff from? Right. So mainly, I think for most of the staff we train them ourselves. I think it's the easiest, and it's also the cheapest. If you start, you can start at the low salary level. If you need to start quick and you have a lot of finance, well, you can also buy some people. But I mean, you can buy people who you can have people who require high salary. But if you're starting, the salary is already a challenge to pay them every month. So just start small and build into people and make a journey together. For me, I think I'm still learning from all the stuff that I have been working with. And so if everyone is learning and we're growing together, we're also a great team and we're getting better. Okay, ethics, I said already. Good. Okay, there are a few obstacles that I wrote down. So someone wanted to know the challenges. I think I need to pick off the funding we have. Last thing we have. Well, team development, I said something about leadership, business plan.
Challenges.
Yeah, here is the challenges now. And social business also. Okay. Technical stuff too. Okay, just a few questions then. Okay, good. Registration, I said, use the company. That helped us. Accounting too, same thing. But it's not easy, you need to get used to it. You need to get used to these financial statements and so on. But to be honest, they're not so hard. I mean, you quickly get it. At the end there is a number, it says profit. So if it is positive, it's a profit. If it is negative, it's a loss. There are a few other numbers that you need to know, but it's not so hard really. You just need someone who can help you do this. Or you learn it by yourself. Recruiting, yes. Hard. It's not always easy. Sometimes you need to interview 50 people for one position. So it's not easy, but it is doable. Just takes time. I think culture is important. I want to say something about this. Also goes into team development. Okay, what is the culture in your company? How should the team work together? For us, for example, what we have is we have coffee breaks in the morning, in the afternoon. A break, some social time together. In the morning we offer fruits to our staff and we play games together. Because we're working very hard and we need some time to relax in between, some time for fun. So this is part of our company culture. Okay, business environment. Someone asked a question about how it is about IT right now in Cambodia. And is it a good environment, yes or no? Okay, this is a bit of a tricky question. So I thought about this quite a lot. In some countries, you have the opportunity, for example, to work together with universities. They provide research for you. There is even programs you can apply for funding. Then you work together with the university, and the university will help you build something innovative, for example. To my knowledge, this is not happening here, or not, at least not much. It's very hard to get into such a program, where in other countries this is relatively simple. Also, in terms of job market, I think for people who have good technical skills, they're still quite rare in Cambodia. While other countries like India, for example, they have a lot of people that study IT, and so you have more choice. Said this, what I like about Cambodia is that the people are quite dedicated to the company. The people are eager to learn. They all want to learn. They all strive for the better. So I think this is a very good prerequisite for any type of business, not only IT. And then in IT, what I like, but I also like it from the social aspect. So because I want to create a social business that changes, that helps change the society. I think in IT you learn a lot of skills. You learn problem solving, you learn how to research, you learn how to work in a team, you learn how to make a plan, you learn abstract thinking. So there's a lot of opportunities in IT. So in my opinion, if you invest in IT, you invest a lot into the people too. So this will give you opportunities over time. And I think just because IT is evolving, and it's now also, like when we started with websites, it was not so popular in Cambodia yet, but it has changed a lot. So it becomes more and more popular now, and I think we are in a very good position. I think even starting now, something in technology, there are a lot of things. I just read that in Japan, the farmers, they get now very sophisticated tools to measure how much rain, how hot is the temperature, to better understand when to put the seeds for the rice. And I mean, that's something that could be done in Cambodia too. And you don't need to buy their expensive IT for this, because it's very simple to do a rain sensor. costs not much money, and it's but you need to think, okay, what is the data that you need to collect? But when you do this, I'm sure you can build something similar that is maybe a little bit simple to get started with, but why should it not become more sophisticated? Because you are here and there's so many rice farmers around. So why should this not be an opportunity to build something that is outstanding and is great for Cambodia? So technology is accessible, and whether you can do something with it or not depends on the quality of your team, how innovative it is, how dedicated it is, how much you can keep it together, how much you can grow together. But that's for many industries too. So, and I want to ask one last question. What is my belief in making business successful? I think that's a good one to finish. So, I mean, the question for me is, in the end, is also, what does mean success for you? Does mean success plus a lot of profit? I think, yes, it's possible. You can make a lot of profit, also in Cambodia. Just look around. I mean, there are a lot of people making a lot of profit here. But for me, it's not only profit. That's why I didn't just start a company, but I started a social business. For me, it's also I want to make a difference in what I do. Then I'm also a technical person. I love technology. So I had to learn that as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to step away, and then technical people do this, you become a manager, and then after that, you need to step away from management and you need to be an entrepreneur. So these are different steps that you go through. But I still love technology, so I actually really love what we're doing as a company. And sometimes I'm just going to sit with some developers and help them out somewhere, or I code a little bit with them, and this is just what I love. So in a way, I've also created a job for me that I love. So is this success? I think for me it's success. For me it's like I'm doing something and I see people grow around me. I'm okay when they overtake me. I don't need to be the greatest. So for me this is what I want to see. People that get skills, can develop their own ideas. So for me this is success too. And I see how Cambodia is changing. And I can see that I'm part of it. And you know, there are not so many IT companies, so I see that people are starting to look at Web Essentials and say, okay, what do they do well? Why do they do things well? And for me, this is also a bit of a success, not only of myself, but of our team, of all the people who have put effort into the company. Because we're creating something, and maybe we're even creating standards for Cambodia, for how people do work in IT. A lot of our staff, they're working. I mean, a lot of our staff who have left and who have not come back, because we also have staff who come back to us after they have left, which is, I think, also a success for a company culture, that people can go and can come back as well, and the relationship is not broken. But for people who have left us, they are working in good positions in other companies too. So I consider this a success too. So I think in the end it matters how you define success. What does mean success for you personally? I think that's a good point to close. Yeah, thank you.